Hi everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and as you can see, I am here today with Rob from Man Sewing.
Hey everybody.
Rob. I love when he comes to visit. We have a wonderful project for you today, and this is it right here. And Rob, what is this right here?
Well, it's kind of a remake of the original burst block pattern because I just thought we could do better.
Well, the fun thing, I love the burst block over on his channel,
Thank you.
I don't do well with the math stuff and with the kind of cutting.
Right.
And so for this quilt, he made us a template, and so it's going to be perfect every time.
Yes.
And I love that.
And
so what do we need to make this?
Yes. Okay. Let's get right into it because you know we get excited about this kind of stuff.
I know we do. We're talkers.
2 different colors of 10-inch square packs. We use the Robert Kaufman version, so we've got the black, the Kona, and then the Lava Flow, which is a batik.
Lots of fun colors.
Yes, yes. But I'm going to also point out I chose batik and I chose solid on purpose the first time through because I don't have to worry about right sides.
That's true.
So this is going to make cutting
lots of good contrast.
Yes, I mean obviously that thing jumps off the wall.
I know, it's so cool. I love it.
Yeah. So you want me to start walking you through the steps? Is that
show
the
me
easiest
how to
way?
do it.
Okay. Well, this is the individual unit right here.
This is the block.
That's
right
the
here.
block. Yep. And we're going to basically do most of it step by step by step instead of a bunch of strip piecing style.
Okay.
As you
perfect.
get more proficient, you could definitely do it strip piecing. So what I've done here is I took my color, we'll just call these the brightly colored squares.
The prints,
yeah. So these were technically cut just on the bias, corner to corner, and this is the only time that we're not going to be using the template throughout the rest of the project.
Okay.
I needed something a little bit longer. The template wasn't long enough to cut
And I love that
line.
about that ruler because it will go corner
It
to corner.
is long enough. It was well designed.
Thank you.
Oh, of course. So that's what we're doing to all of our bright squares. Now,
Okay.
in the layout behind me, there's 24 blocks. I have 2 of each color, so I have 12 of these.
Okay.
I got excited and I took the whole set of 10 squares and stuff and cut them all through and got excited. So I had some leftovers to play with
No,
colorways.
you never have leftovers. You have more quilts.
Amen. And my daughter was playing with them. She thinks she's making Darth Maul with all the black and red
there
ones.
you go. There you go.
Now, with the black pieces or our neutral, the one that's going to be used in every block, no matter what the other colors are, you can see here that the template itself was used, beautiful, thank you, to cut it like this.
Yeah.
Correct. And then these are the leftovers, but these are going to be used for all of the construction as well. So each individual block, we're going to need one of our wedge shapes, and then I'm going to keep these in order. So I've got all of that. So if
Now, are these 2 triangles the same?
not at all.
Okay, so they're not interchangeable. We need to keep 2 piles of those.
Correct. And
Okay.
I may have misled you. They are the same this way, but they are not, this side is longer than this side.
okay.
And that is really important that you point that out. Thank
Okay.
you for doing that.
All right.
Yeah. These triangles are what you know as equilateral triangles. So
They're the same.
They're the same. These lengths are the same.
Okay.
And that will work nicely because we're going to need
Now,
those to
one
start.
more thing I want to ask you about. Hand me a black square over there.
You got it.
When we put this template on the black square,
Yes.
you're just going to line up this on this edge and this on this edge, correct?
The first thing we're going to need is we're going to need just the center wedge, but I'm going to save these and I'm going to keep them, like I said, just kind
2
of
separate
organized.
piles, yeah.
If you start to look for the long sides and the short sides, you'll be able to recognize. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to piece this for me, and we're not going to start right here. I'm just going to cheat. Every time I start, I'm going to cheat off of this bottom corner by about a 1/2 inch or so.
Okay.
I personally pieced, and then I did my pressing, however you like to do it.
So we're going to turn this and put them right sides together,
Correct.
And we're just going to sew. And does it matter if there's no exact measurement for down here?
No exact, but I definitely want to go long. I'm going to cheat you up. Let's just tell everybody 3/4 inch. Let's give them a number because it will help on some of the other
And then
pieces.
we're just going to sew this down this side.
Yes, please.
1/4 inch.
Yep. I'll make sure our iron's warming up over here. Oh, good and ready.
All right.
Yeah, I was finding that having those colored blocks both assembled at the same time made the trimming much easier that way.
Well, and I love that there's no back side or front side. You know, you can't make a mistake on that.
Certainly, certainly. Now, I know we've always taught pressing to the dark side. What I find actually ends up happening is it usually just presses from the outside of that wedge because you could do this with neutral light colors in the center
Absolutely.
too. So I'm just kind of pressing to the outside edge. I want to get it nice and flat. Okay, and we are piecing a bit on the bias. So going a little bit slow, and you might find that things don't always settle in, but as we trim and trim, we're going to do great with this.
We're going to do
okay, so now the first thing we need to point out is the wedge shape is also printed on our template.
Oh, okay, right here.
Right. This template's going to be used both from this side and from this side.
Okay.
So we're going to be flipping the template over. And because of that, there's no real numbers for the markings. These dots are used for the markings, 1, 2, and 3, so you can read them on both sides of the ruler or the template. And this wedge is always going to be sitting on this wedge no matter how we're cutting.
Always on the black.
Always on the, well,
or the middle,
center.
the
wedge
center.
shape.
Okay.
So that's why we use it as a wedge. Originally I had an arrow. So
Okay.
that's the fun part about prototypes. So our first thing we're doing is we're going to actually be cutting on this line right here, the one with the single dot.
With the one dot.
Is for our first seam.
cut.
That's right. And then there's a couple of other little points I want to point out here. Way down here, I always have the corner of the template touching this black,
the
centerpiece, because that could actually adjust the angle of the wedge.
Oh,
so we
okay.
want to be careful with that. I'm going to put a nice amount of pressure here, and I just kind of start my cutout, and then I come in to my wedge. And you know, I hadn't done a lot of work with templates in my life, and I learned that if my cutter is at a bit of an angle this way, I'm not pushing against the template so
Right.
hard, and it doesn't move. You probably knew that.
Well, I just cut. I don't even notice what I'm doing. I just cut.
I'm still trying to learn what I'm supposed
You're
to
a lot
teach.
more technical than
I
I
just
am.
got to learn what to teach. Now, we've cut this edge. Now, there's a 90-degree marker up here as well. It's only 90 degree on one side, so that's what that box means. And what we can do there is I'm going to...
That's so cool.
Isn't that fun? So that lays out like this, and I'm just going to start trimming, and I'm just kind of eyeballing this
Right.
into the peaks and valleys of our pinking. So this will come around here. The ruler, or the template, I keep wanting to call it a ruler, but it's a template. It is now flipped. This bottom corner, there's not a lot of meat down there, right? So
Right.
it's really easy. So just be real cautious at first. Or my trick I like is, did you see how I've laid that out on that
sure,
corner?
right in that corner.
So now I can use the rest of the mat to try to stay fairly focused, fairly straight to begin with.
Because basically you're just squaring this up to make a square.
Correct. Not too bad too. And we do want to save, we don't need to save these parts.
Okay.
But we do want to save these parts. These
And
will be
how
our-
cool that that's all the little waste.
Right, right.
That little tiny
Yeah, we
bits
end
you
up
cut
with
off.
very, very little.
Okay.
Next parts that go on are the opposite color. So that will be our blacks. And this is where that long side is really
Matters.
important, right? So this is the long side connected to the little bit. So that fills right back in. And back here again, no more than a 3/4 inch startup.
Okay.
And I'll ask you to piece
All right,
those
I'm
on
going
for
to do
me.
this side first.
Yep.
Just because I'm that side.
And my eyes double checked real quick so that we don't have any seam ripping to do. I think she's correct, ladies.
Well, and what I love is now with this template is that you really can be perfect every block. Every block can be, you know it's going to work.
It's pretty close. I'm trying to think of, like, I'm hoping they're not looking too close at my points that don't all exactly match every single time. And that's partly because the blocks you see in the quilt behind me, I was learning to keep that bottom of the template, that bottom corner down there and on location, because I didn't realize there would be a slight angle change.
Well, I have to tell you first that I have never given a quilt to anybody and had them say, have them say, well, I'm not going to take this unless you get your points better.
Right, right.
No, they don't care. They don't care.
You certainly didn't have a friend after that point.
All right, so I'm not, second cut.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Almost. So we need to have that wedge.
Oh, the wedge has to be on the black, so this
Correct.
has to flip over.
Correct.
Oh my gosh.
And so just by having that tip of the template touching the black, that just gives it consistency for the other side.
And honestly, I would imagine that by the time you've done this a few times, it gets to be, you get to be very quick at it.
I found myself to feel very quick.
All right, I'm gonna let you cut this side.
Okay, will
Because
do.
otherwise we'll have to rotate it and do something
Right,
crazy
right.
to it.
Okay, that's there.
Okay.
Sliding this up, right? So I was on my line. I'm going to cut. And yeah, you're right, because I've already made, like I said, about 40 of these. I found that if I cut that right side first, being right-handed, now I'm looking at that whole line. I'm going to trim. I'm going to flip. I would have then also trimmed that seam you cut for me, right? And then I've just learned to spin and flip. And the more cut we get, the more square that stays. And then that flip of the ruler, or the template, maybe I should print the word template on this, even though it says template right on there. There we go.
There we go.
Okay, and then our next step is going to be to add back on these yellows.
The yellow.
And the yellows have now become isosceles. Are they isosceles triangles? Just to my
Oh,
geometry
don't even
name?
say that
I'm sorry.
word.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. My son is on the other side of the camera, and he's pretty much a math wizard. Is it isosceles?
Oh my gosh.
Two-sided triangle?
My dad's a math
He's
wizard.
he's giving me sign language. We're going to let Jenny sew instead.
Yeah.
We'll get back to you on the name of the triangle. Perfect.
All right.
Okay, press that out for us. We'll need those again.
It's like wings.
Mm-hmm. And actually, we're already on to our last cuts and our last seams after this. So it actually goes, like I said, very quickly. Okay?
All right. So line 3.
Correct.
Oh, wait. Turn it over.
Beautiful.
Because my point's got to be on the point. And we got to be on line 3. Line 3.
Yep, and you lined up that bottom corner.
Is
Perfect.
it weird for you that this side is getting cut first?
No.
Okay, here you go.
Not at all, because it really works. I actually want to play with this in a whole variety of different ways.
Do you know that's one of the things that's cool about our templates
Yes.
is that it's cool if they do one thing, but we make sure they do a lot of things. You know,
You should have heard
so
the conversation I had with the guy that was going to make the template. He's like, this is going to do more than one thing, right?
It is. It is. We always find all these different things that they can do, and it just makes it really, really fun.
Right.
Like just now looking at this,
Right.
Father's Day tie quilt.
Oh, that would be very cool. Well,
I
I
come up
kind
with
of,
something.
I was playing with it also if it would actually be very similar to a Dresden, the way that you,
Sure.
sometimes you do the Dresden parts. And it looks similar. It wasn't the same angle, so you need more than 20 of these to put back together. Okay, now this last cut we're going to do here, just trimming this down. So what we have is this interesting seam. That's the seam right there.
Uh-oh.
Okay, and it's easy.
Oh, from the where it chinks like that.
Correct, because this part of the yellow here.
It's got a little elbow.
Yep. So I'm going to ask you to still piece this on, but because you have so much of the triangle left and so little to go, you can cheat now if you need to.
Okay.
On both sides, please. And then we don't have template marks. We just square it to finish.
Okay, perfect.
Super easy.
Super easy. So in my mind, this, you know, you might think this is still a burst block, but it's a better burst.
It's a better burst block.
It's a better burst.
It's certainly more accurate. If
Oh,
the people that come to
interesting.
Hamilton and look at that quilt real close will see my extra special block I created.
Yeah, but you know, everybody is where they is. They're
You
all
know
in
what?
different places.
That's what we were doing. I was
right.
so excited just to be making a quilt for us here. Okay, so I'm going to press this. So construction-wise, how'd you feel? Was it fairly easy on the bias?
I think it's pretty easy, yeah. Well, the bias doesn't bother me at all. I'm a clothing sewer originally, so
Okay.
we love the bias.
Got
You
it.
know, makes everything hang nice.
Right.
It doesn't ravel. We
Right.
love the bias.
Right.
So,
A little bit of a trick. I'm going to interrupt you a little there.
Okay.
Okay. So now as I get ready to trim, I'm actually really wanting to look at the square wherever I find myself a square, and I like to use the thick lines.
Okay.
So for here, I'm going to use this kind of at this corner.
Okay.
And I don't have any lines in the field of the template. I'm just going to use my 90.
Okay.
Okay. So at this point, if you had a big square ruler that you loved, you could use that as well. But I'm looking at my line kind of running through. I'm making sure it's not all cattywampus to the
Right,
red
right.
lines on the ruler. Excuse me, red lines on the mat.
that's where the pressing matters, right?
And I will also tell you, because there's a little bit of give in these shapes, I was able to match my points up pretty darn well in the final quilt.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so you see again, I'm just using it to square. Just
Right.
using it to square, like this. And then real quickly when I'm done, I'll show you how we marry the blocks together.
And again, this is the 90-degree line that lines on the corner.
Absolutely, thanks for pointing that out, yep.
Well, I have, you know, I'm swangly challenged. I have these little mantras that I say
Right,
to myself.
right.
This, we got to do this. We got to do this. We got to do this. Flip over for the left. Flip over, you know, right side up for the right.
Yep, yep.
Right for the right. You know, that would become my mantra with this, because otherwise I just get all mixed up. You know.
Yeah, it can be.
Oh, perfect.
Does that look
Look at
sharp?
that. Yep.
Okay, so I'll
Now
point
what
out,
do we do?
these I kind of just toss. These I've been saving. One of these days I'm going to make some borders or something
Sure,
that work out of
sure.
these. So I've got a whole pile of those. And then if you are looking through us at the quilt behind, I basically started in the center of the project.
Okay.
But I really did use a similar shades is what I'm trying to say. So
Okay.
like this is I'm going to call a medium, and this is a bright red.
Okay.
So I'm just using this as an example because they were left over from my whole lava flow pack. So I'm touching dark to light, and then over here I'm also going to come in here and touch dark to light.
Oh, that's so cool.
And so when it goes in like that, then it's going to go ahead and give you the feel. And then if you look at the quilt back here, that's what's kind of giving it also the burst and the radiant feel as I kept going. So I just kind of kept playing within the colors, so they're basically opposite diagonals.
So basically we have 1, 2, 3, 4 bursts across,
Correct.
and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bursts down.
They work greatest in multiples of 4 so far.
Okay,
until we come up with another design for it.
Until we do something else. Well, this is awesome. Thank you, Rob.
My pleasure. Thanks for letting me share the template.
Love the template. Love the new block. You know, the way that it's consistent.
Right.
Just love everything about it. Thanks for being here today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you guys, thanks so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the Better Burst block
Loving it.
from the Missouri Star Quilt Company and Man Sewing.